Hello, Charlie. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm good. Thanks for having me on the podcast. How are
It is
you? How are
I'm
you?
yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually doing pretty good. It's a good day so far and everything. I can't complain.
Yeah,
And I'm just excited to like just talk or just even interview you, right? Again, one of our Harper Hack top 3, like just one of the runner-ups, and it's great to be able to great to actually just see you again, meet you, and us chat about like all the amazing project you built for Harper Hack this year.
let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So to start things off, please, if you can, for anyone who is watching this, who isn't familiar with who you are, Charlie, can you please just explain or just give an overview about yourself and then your project?
Sure. So my name's Charlie Gerard. I usually go by Dev Charlie online if you kind of come across anything that I do. And I'm a senior research engineer in cybersecurity at a company called CrowdStrike. And I feel like that kind of role is really a good fit for me because it's about coming up with new ideas and prototyping things, which is kind of related to what I was doing for the Harper hackathon, where
Mhm.
this whole year I've been looking at the idea of controlling or using the new Gen AI, stuff to control like lights, kind of like little
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
IoT project. And that's not
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
necessarily
Yeah.
related to my
Mhm.
job. Like, in cybersecurity, we don't necessarily care about controlling
Yep.
lights, but the
Yep. Yep.
idea
Yep.
of like the process of researching something and prototyping and coming up with ideas. And the reason why I've been kind of playing around with Harper is the idea of a vector database, like being able to create my own little database of images of gesture recognition and then do vector similarity search to be able to control my lights using gestures and using Gemini. So,
Mhm.
when you're doing gestures, there's a lot that comes into nonverbal communication.
Yep.
And with people, if I do a thumbs up, it usually means like it's
Yeah.
okay or like we're good or whatever.
We're good. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And so and then if you can record certain images of yourself and then just label them and
Yeah.
let AI infer what the gesture might mean in relation to controlling lights. So if you do thumbs up, it should turn the light on. If you thumbs down, it's kind of negative. It should turn the light
Yeah.
off. So
Hmm.
it's just exploring this idea of being able to either like make gestures towards different lights and control them, like turn them on or off or change color or anything like that. And for now, it's mainly been lights, but it was kind of following the idea of, in general, I think what's called room size computing. So
Hmm.
maybe in the future, if our homes are actually smart,
Yep.
being able to kind of understand you without having to necessarily talk. At the moment, if you have an Alexa or
Hmm.
Google Home, if they still exist, you can
Hmm.
talk to your lights and stuff. But
Hmm.
what if you could just like point at things and they would just do what you want? That would be pretty cool.
That'd
So
be
yeah, that was
really
kind of like
amazing.
that's what I've been like prototyping, very very like a lot.
Ooh, who knows? Like what was it, Tony Stark? What was the butler's name? Was it Jenkins? I can't remember.
Uh,
What's his name?
Now that you say,
Oh
I
gosh.
forgot. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. No, no, I'm gonna have to. Now we're gonna have to
we're
go.
not real nerds. We should know. Yeah.
We should know this. This should be like, the
I
top
know,
of top
and
of my
and
yeah.
now and now it's gonna
Hmm.
stay in the back of my mind until we finish
Yeah.
this episode.
I know. Yeah. Then we're gonna know
You're like,
immediately right after it ends here. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Jarvis, see,
Jarvis. You're not Jenkins, but Jarvis. Sorry, I'm thinking like
my brain was like,
Jarvis. There it is, Jarvis. Yep. See, so
yeah.
building out the next Jarvis. Okay.
Mhm.
So there you go,
I mean,
Charlie. All
having a
right.
system that can kind of understand what you
Mm-hmm.
want without saying
Mm-hmm.
it would be cool. But sometimes no people can't even do that. So how
Yeah.
can we expect computers?
No, that is amazing. So, like, I mean, what was essentially the inspiration behind all of this? I know you were like exploring it and researching this, but was there like inspiration behind this at
Yes.
all?
Um,
Um,
yeah, so I don't know. So people can Google that later, but there's this guy called Jared Ficklin
mhm,
who is kind of like, I mean, artist, technologist, or creative technologist. And he's been building a prototype called Room E. So if you go
mhm.
to YouTube and you say like Room E Jared Ficklin, there should be a video from, I think it's 11 or 13 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, that's why I'm thinking about the future, but we've
Hmm.
apparently been looking at this for 13 years.
Yep.
And in his prototype, he had two lights with like a Kinect depth camera in the middle, and I
Hmm.
think there was some kind of voice recognition system at the time as well.
Yeah.
And he, in front of the camera, he was pointing at the light on the right, and he was
Hmm.
saying, "Turn this light on." So there was a voice component, but right now, if you look at a computer,
Yep.
if you say this, like the computer doesn't know what this is, right? But you know
Hmm.
when you point
Yep.
to the light on the right that you're talking about the light on the right, and if you
Yep.
point to the left, you know you don't point to the left but actually want the other light to turn
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so he at the time even it was like a depth camera and it was like a voice component to it, and probably most of it was hard coded, like coded yourself. But
Hmm.
now with the advancements in Gen AI, you could kind of build systems where you have less to code yourself for the AI
Hmm.
to understand that when you say this, and
Hmm.
you have image recognition. This is my
Yep.
right hand.
Hmm.
If the if you build, even if it's you end up building like an MCP server or whatever,
Yeah.
and you tell it that you have two lights, or if you fetch an API endpoint and it lists the lights that you have, the
Hmm.
AI can determine which light it might be based on
Hmm.
how you name it and stuff. But if I point to the right and I could say turn this light on, and it would do it, but I'm trying to also think about, well, do I have to even talk, or can the AI understand as well that if I point, it could also say, well, if the light is currently off and I'm
Hmm.
pointing at it, I probably want it on.
Hmm.
And if it's on, I probably want it off. Like a light can
Yep.
only have two states, like on or off, unless
Yep.
I don't know, you have fancy lights that you want them to flicker or something. Why would you want that? I don't know. You
Yep.
can kind of like build the part that maybe recognizes the gesture and then let the AI infer which light, what the state, and then you can create more custom gestures. Like
Yep.
if you wanted to change the color, what kind of gesture would you want? And you end up being
Hmm.
able to create a more custom solution. I think
Yep.
my dream would be that people can do whatever they want with the tech that they have,
Yep.
with like minimal effort. I don't
Hmm.
want, like at the moment, if you buy lights, people have to download an app or create
App.
an account and they have so
Hmm.
many buttons and whatever. And
Yep.
it's like engineers have to decide what you're able to do with your
Yep.
devices. And I'm like, I
Hmm.
don't want that. Like I want
Yeah.
someone who, I mean, I want people to be able to either talk to their home system or whatever and be like, well, actually, I don't want to point at my light. I want to do a little dance to turn my lights on or whatever. And I want the system to be like, okay, you want to do that? Like, do that.
Hmm.
And in an easy way without needing to be an engineer.
Yep.
And this is where I'm seeing that maybe the Gen AI stuff can maybe be helpful.
Yeah.
I have not yet seen it necessarily incorporated in like IoT stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd be really great to see more of that. Actually, I'd really
Yeah,
great. It'd be really
because I'm like,
interesting to
if you
see.
already buy the device, why can't you just do whatever you want with it? Like
Hmm.
we're trying as engineers to build interfaces where we
Hmm.
try to make it easy to change color or whatever.
Yep.
But what if you really want something custom?
Hmm.
Like so yeah, that's been my experimentation. I don't really know where I'm gonna go with it next,
Yeah.
but it's been interesting because that was my way also of learning more about Gen AI in a way that's interesting to me. Because
I like
sometimes
that.
you can be like, oh, follow
Hmm.
this blog post and you'll create
Mm.
a chatbot or a
I was like,
recipe.
another chatbot, another one,
Yeah,
another one.
and
You know.
that's fine. And that's fine if it helps people learn. But to me,
Hmm.
I have to be excited.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, because there's so much to learn, right? And
Yep.
also, as a research engineer, I have to kind of know what's going on.
Yep.
Um, and if I'm not excited,
Yeah.
what's the point?
Yeah, make it fun. I
So,
mean, yeah, I
yeah,
was like, programming should be fun. I think, when people
yeah.
do like just are serious all the time about programming or like just wanting to follow like a very linear path, like programming shouldn't be linear, it shouldn't be boring. It shouldn't just be like, the set of like learn this, right, or build another
Yeah.
chat, like experiment, have fun, enjoy thing, enjoy it, right? Enjoy the
Yeah.
process. That's kind
you,
of
you
how
get
I am
to
too. Yeah.
you get to push the boundaries a little bit as well,
Yeah.
because if you
Hmm.
try to create something that's not necessarily following a tutorial,
Hmm.
you also maybe learn more about the limitations
It's
of like,
true.
oh, this thing can't actually do that yet, because the tutorial
Hmm.
is usually written with the features that are available, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Usually you
Hmm.
go to
Yeah.
what can be done, and
Hmm.
when you start to maybe apply that to something that's maybe a bit less mainstream, you're
Hmm.
like, oh, I wish that maybe in the future it does that. And then you start to follow the news of like, oh, have they implemented something that might be easier for my project? Or
Hmm.
that you really, well, for me at least, I
Yeah.
get a better understanding of the limitations of where I can use it maybe at work.
Hmm.
Or, it's like, yeah, learning about Gen AI. Now I'm like, okay, maybe I can implement it that way at work. But I know from personal projects that this is not quite there yet and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, I
Mhm.
mean, in my career in general, it's helped quite a lot to
Yeah.
experiment with different technologies that maybe people thought were a bit too new.
Hmm.
But at least it's like, oh, things change a lot. In the future, it might actually be better.
Yep.
But we all have limited time, so
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
that's why I
Yeah.
need it to be exciting, because I don't want to like do something outside of work that is like not exciting to me.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. No, that it's funny actually because like I remember looking at all your other like just really cool like things that you've built out like in the past, right? From I remember the whole like was it blocks or block saber, not
Yeah,
beat saber,
yeah,
but like that and like and a ton of other things as well too. And I'm like, oh man, like this is really great. Like it's creative. I mean, it's creative programming, creative engineering, right? And
yeah.
like stuff like that definitely like just sort of it makes me excited too because like oh man like you're used to building out these single page applications like hey let's utilize this for other things, right? So and sort of taking a step back here, um you know we talked about the whole like your inspiration and whatnot, but sort of wanting to dive in even into like the technical aspect of things, like what was that, like what was your tech stack, what APIs, like what all can you sort of elaborate on like what all was used to build out this like
Mm.
this project?
Sure. So because I wanted to get started kind of quickly, it's built in React.
Hmm.
My previous projects earlier in my career was just vanilla JavaScript. I
Hmm.
love
Yeah.
vanilla JavaScript, but sometimes I'm like,
Yes.
okay, fine, I'll just spin up a quick React app. It didn't need, the whole
Yeah, yeah,
React.
yeah, yeah.
It's kind of just easy, and then I just replace the bits of code. So, well, for the database, I'm using Harper.
Hmm.
And
Hey.
yeah, and then so for the lights, it's the LifeX lights, so
Hmm.
LIFX.
Hmm.
But you can also implement that with Philips Hue lights or whatever. And for the kind of AI part that does compositional like function calling,
Hmm.
it's the Gemini AI model. So
I
I'm
see.
using just the Google APIs to be able to do that. So there's actually not that much involved. It's like if you know how
Hmm.
to build a React app, then or spin up a React app, then you already know one part. If you know how
Hmm.
to ping an API, it doesn't matter if it's about lights, you know how to ping an API. If you like start to play around with Harper,
Hmm.
it's not complicated at all. You create your database, and then you start to just save, like, store data in
Hmm.
it.
Yep.
And maybe the part that's a little bit complicated is like transforming things into vector embeddings. But
Hmm.
it actually, from the front end side, I think it's just like one function or something. I forgot exactly how I wrote it,
Hmm.
but it's in the repo if someone wants to have a look. And
Yep.
the part that, if you're not familiar with it, it might be a little bit it take a bit of time to understand, is the whole part how to handle compositional function calling with Gemini, like
Yeah.
creating a schema of the different functions available,
Hmm.
and then writing the AI part that will kind of figure out which function to call based on what you say. But in the end, I tried to write the code in the repo at least in a way that's not too complicated to understand.
Yeah.
But I tried to keep it simple so that if people want to have a
Hmm.
look, they
Hmm.
can extract whatever they want from it
Hmm.
and maybe use it for something else.
Yeah. Yeah. And sort of just thinking, sort of building on top of this, right? Uh, just thinking about this, right, in terms of like features, because I mean, again, it's really amazing or whatnot. Were there any features or any sort of things that you either a wanted to build out but didn't have the time to, or like things you had like features you had to take out? Like what if just wanting to elaborate more onto this, like yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think there was a part, because the application has two parts. One, you have to train.
Hmm.
I mean, I call it train. It's not really training. It's just recording samples of like me doing gestures and saving them in the database. And at the
Hmm.
moment, I'm doing it a little bit more, maybe too manually for my liking,
Hmm.
where I'm in front of the camera, I select a predefined gesture like right
Hmm.
thumbs up or something, and then I click
Yeah.
a button, it takes a screenshot, converts to vector embeddings, and store that. But
Hmm.
I would have liked to maybe make it more flexible to the user, where they can write their own label instead of having a drop down.
I
I made
see.
a drop down just to make it easier.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But sometimes you might want to do a gesture that not doesn't necessarily have a label, but that you might have to describe. I
I
don't know
see.
what it would be, but let's
Yeah.
say if I do like that, Like that's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that could be called hands up, but
Yeah, hands.
just imagine another gesture. Like
Yeah,
imagine
I
like
kind of think of
how
like key
to.
bindings. I kind of think of this as like key bindings when you're like playing games. I'm assuming, or something along those lines, right?
Yeah,
Assigning
yeah.
those
I mean,
gestures to like, yeah, to like, or actions to
yeah,
like those gestures to like a specific action or something like that, right? If I do
yeah,
this, like, hey, like I don't know, like lights on or whatever,
yeah. That
hands
would be
down,
like,
lights off.
or yeah, it could just be like something. Or if
Mhm.
you're like this, then it does like a rainbow color or whatever.
Oh, that'd be nice, you know.
I
Or
mean,
yeah, I'm thinking party lights. You know, I'm
yeah,
thinking
yeah,
party.
yeah, exactly. So I think it's like big for the
Yeah,
hackathon because I had limited time.
yeah.
I kind of decided the gestures that would be available, and I
Hmm.
only had like two lights. But I would like to maybe I would have liked to add some kind of voice component
Hmm.
where it would have reduced the number of clicks, and you could have just
I
like
see.
opened the UI,
Hmm.
and maybe have a way to automate more like recording samples so
I
that
see.
yeah instead of selecting and clicking you
Hmm.
could have just been like now and you would have recorded a lot of samples of the thumbs up because the
Hmm.
more samples you have the better even though
Yep.
now it worked pretty well with like one or two samples per gesture. That's what I
Hmm.
like about vector embeddings. It's a lot easier to train kind of like an image recognition thing than
Hmm.
before when I was working with TensorFlow.js and
Yeah.
you need so many more samples. Uh,
Hmm.
unless you do transfer learning, that's like another thing.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I mean, I forgot. I think there was other things I wanted to add, but I totally forgot now.
Hmm.
Um, but I was happy with the fact that I could like it's easy to record samples,
Hmm.
and because it's vector embeddings, like even if at some point you build something and you get hacked, they have no access to images. You can't
Mm.
really
I see.
reconstruct images from vector embeddings. So in terms
Yeah.
of privacy, it's really cool.
Oh,
Um,
that's awesome.
and because it's a vector similarity search, then as well,
Hmm.
um, it will get the closest kind of entity in the database that it found,
Yeah.
and you don't have to record as many samples.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think at the moment that's kind of like I stopped there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like what's next? Do you like plan on trying to you plan on like building on top of that as well, like or building on top of your project,
Yeah.
like so?
Okay.
So
What
yes.
I really would like to do,
Hmm.
because what I like when I was playing with Harper
Hmm.
is that obviously it can work offline. That part can work offline. Where I mean, I think
Yeah.
where
Yep.
I can have my kind of local database.
Hmm.
I can have my app in the browser,
Yep.
just storing into my local DB. Well,
Hmm.
pinging lights, I kind of would need the internet for that. But
Yeah.
let's say, I mean, but you could potentially no. Let's not go there because I feel like this is no. Let's But what I would like to do though at some point is that I know that they're starting to implement LLMs in the browser that can work offline, where it
Yeah.
can be downloaded and what I would
Mhm.
really like to do is at some point being able to kind of create an offline solution where
Mm.
I would take the picture from from the browser, do my vector simulator search in my vector database,
Hmm.
return the label that the in-browser LLM would use, and then it would
Yep.
decide what action to do. So that part
Oh,
could be potentially completely offline.
I like that. I like
Just
that a lot.
pinging lights, I don't know if even if you ended up having maybe some kind of internal network at home that's not exposed
Yeah.
to the public internet.
Hmm.
I mean, actually, your lights do that because they're not
Yeah. Yeah. You
connected.
could close like LAN. You know, as I said, like a yeah. As I said, yeah.
Yeah,
You
so
can.
that would be kind of
Hmm.
cool to experiment, and I
Hmm.
would love to move that from the browser to like a Raspberry Pi. I would have to change some
Mm.
of the stuff because I don't think I've been
Hmm.
thinking about it. I haven't really like worked on it, but I'd love to have. So in my apartment, there's like my TV, and I have two or three lights that are kind of
Yep.
behind. You know, the
Hmm.
classic like lights behind your TV.
Yeah.
I have that.
The
Um,
ambient. Yes.
and yeah, I would love to have a little Raspberry Pi with a camera, like sitting either under or above, and actually use my own stuff. Like when I
Yeah.
point, it turns on,
Hmm.
and then I would change lights, and maybe
Hmm.
as I move my hand up and down, it changes.
Okay.
The like and it's not opacity, I forgot, but like the intensity of
Hmm.
the lights, or
Yeah.
or make sometimes with some lights you have, especially the Philips Hue, like you have presets that you can
Hmm.
select, or like, oh, I want a Halloween type of
Yeah.
setup or whatever, and you could
Hmm.
have different gestures that can do that. But I
Ooh.
would probably have to switch some of the tech stack. I know you
I
can
see.
take pictures,
Hmm.
but that would be probably in Python.
Hmm.
Um, but I think the Harper side of it probably would stay the same.
Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm.
And then it's just the LLM part. There's probably Python that I could write for that. So
Mm-hmm.
the logic kind of would be the same, but I would have to rewrite it probably in
I see.
Python.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe not. I haven't looked into it. But that would be really cool.
Okay.
Then it would
Ooh.
really be like, it would be recreating the project from like Jared fixing from 13 years ago, but like in my
Mm-hmm.
head.
I love this. All right,
I
now I'm
think
gonna
that'd
have to
be
like.
really cool.
Oh,
So
that'd be so cool. Now I like really have to fork your project. Is this something you're gonna like build on top of like the current repo and everything like that, or is this something you just want to afford
I
it?
think that would be
Probably just like
different. That would be
a
different.
different repo. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay.
Because I
Yes.
think if I have to rewrite in a different language, I don't want to mix it up.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yep, that makes sense. Please
but
send the link. Make sure you send the link, okay? Because this sounds like a lot of fun. Okay.
that would be fun. And then it's like, oh, can you add more devices or more lights and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
make it something that people can easily customize. Like I don't want people to just use my gestures
Mm-hmm.
or my number of lights, but I think that's the
Yep.
nice part is you can make it quite flexible.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that is amazing. Wow. Well,
I mean, I don't know
I
if I'm gonna get to doing it, but that's a cool idea. It's
but
what I want
if
to
you
do
do,
it and start
please
growing
like
the repo.
look, make the post on like Blue Sky, Twitter, or like make the
Yeah.
post because I'm sure everyone's gonna be like, oh my gosh. Like so yes, all right. Yeah, no. But overall though, that sounds awesome. That sounds genuinely amazing.
I think
And
that's kind of fun. It's like I think this is
mhm,
where also I haven't done stuff with Raspberry Pi in a while, so it'd be
yeah.
kind of like a nice way to get back into it. I haven't written
Oh
Python in
yeah.
a while, and that'd be
Hmm.
again, it's kind of like when you build
Hmm.
up on something you're excited about, you can
Yeah.
really explore like tech that you don't usually use, and especially now, I think knowing Python is probably important
Hmm. Yeah.
if you do a bit of like AI stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, and even in Raspberry Pi now they're trying to run models like on the Pi.
Oh wait, they are? Really?
I think there's some Raspberry Pis now that can run little local models, which then
Oh
gets even
wow.
better because I could also do the local running everything.
Ooh, that's gonna be even more computationally efficient than having to like, have like all this like RAM and all this different stuff. I just,
Yeah.
I
So
mean, doing more
it's
of less, I think is
it's
awesome. So
maybe
yeah.
not necessarily the latest model and stuff,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
if you want to do little IoT
Hmm.
stuff,
Hmm.
it would be really nice. Again, I haven't had the time to look at this, but
Hmm.
I love that
Yes.
some people are doing it, and then I can just like
Yeah.
build on it.
See, I mean, fine tuning a small language model, I think that, that makes sense, right? It's because you're
Yeah,
not trying to tackle like a wide array of like just of things, right? Of different, just all these different things, right? It's specific things could be, from gestures, right? I think that right there in fine tuning your language model to
yeah,
like, for gestures, that makes sense, right? You don't need like
yeah.
128 gigabytes of RAM or, all this different stuff to run at home. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
then
yeah,
you
no, that,
like if you are privacy conscious,
yeah.
then it's like being able to build your own little
Hmm.
model with your own samples that are not
Yep.
accessible like anywhere else. Then I don't
Hmm.
know, I like the idea of it's kind of like owning back the technology and
Hmm.
what you build and knowing where the thing goes. Like at least, well,
Yeah.
sometimes you buy like an IoT device and then you
Hmm.
like years later in the news they're like, oh, they've been leaking you data all this time. So it's like,
It's like,
okay,
no.
weren't quite happy with that. So yeah.
That is absolutely this sounds like fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm excited. And now you've encouraged me to get a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
So I think I have one, but it's like almost a decade old or something like
Yeah. I
that.
don't know
So
which
I
model
yeah.
they're up to now. I think my
Yeah.
latest is like a 3, which
Oh,
probably is
oh,
very old
threes.
now.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I gotta take a look at, I gotta take a look and see what model they're at now. So that is amazing. But yeah, Charlie, as I said, it has been a joy being able to like chat with you to, learn more about the reasoning behind like why you created, your project. So like, what was the inspiration behind it to even you diving into the technical details? Like this has been, and even moving forward, like what you plan on doing moving forward, if you do have time, because I know
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
very busy.
yeah.
So yeah. So it's been an absolute joy being able to have you on this podcast, and I can't wait to see all the amazing work and all the stuff that you just continue to do and just have fun. So
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's always nice chatting with you. So
thank you so much. All right, have an amazing day. Okay,
you too.
thank you. Bye.